and all those on the American side realize that the 75 years since the Second World War are a thing of the past, that the high and mighty position that that side has taken is over, and the world order is changing. Not that it will change. It has changed. It has changed. And Sean used an interesting phrase, which is repeated always by people, like they talk about the democracy and they talk about the free world. Almost as if there was a heavenly place called the free world, which was somewhere between Kansas and Minnesota. But the fact is, the world has changed, Frank, and I don't mean to provoke you, but just say that the neo-imperialism of America and company cannot continue. Maybe what we are seeing here is a response to that, the neo-imperialism since 1945. It's over. It's over, and I think America should stop getting upset about it and using countries like Ukraine as a lever. Yes, Frank.
I understand what you just said, but I don't think you listened to what Putin just said. This war is about purging Ukraine of a, quote, Nazi leadership. Putin went on to say that it's about protecting Russian citizens who've been aggressed in the Donbass. Putin said today, once again, that there were plans to nuclearize Ukraine. That's what Putin said. He didn't talk about NATO. You're introducing NATO. Fine. Introduce it. I believe it's a separate subject. But do not miss the point. This is a war of aggression by Russia against Ukraine. It has nothing to do with anything else except a violent confrontation with international law and standards in human decency. Now, having said that, NATO is, of course, a deeper issue, one that can be discussed. European security architecture has to be looked at. Putin has made that point. Discussions were underway. A previous speaker claimed they broke down. They did not break down. There was a discussion path open, but Putin decided to invade Ukraine. Now, is it true that the post-Cold War era has ended? I believe it has. Are we entering a multilateral era? I also agree with you that that's a fact, and it has to be worked through. But nothing, Arnett, nothing justifies the naked, brutal aggression of Russia against a nation that did nothing to provoke it.
No.
That's the issue on the table today.
Well,
and
I don't know.
By baiting and switching, Arnett, and moving the subject to NATO, you miss the point of what is
I'm not changing the subject.
in front of us.
Ambassador, I'm not changing the subject. I'm not changing the subject. I'm a well-wisher of both the American people and the Russian people. And I have no sides. I have no bone to pick with anyone in this fight. But is this about what is right? Or is this about a last attempt, I say, a last attempt via Ukraine to impose an American world order? My own view, Ambassador Wisner, and I'd like to hear from Alexander on this, that this was a last attempt. This was a last attempt. You laugh at that, but you know I'm absolutely spot on. This was a desperate and last attempt. Laugh as much as you like. By the Americans, Brahma Chelani knows I'm right. I'll actually bring Brahma in on this. This was the last attempt, but it was also the last straw. And unlike in the past, you couldn't get away with it. You're calling the Russian reaction an overreaction, but who provoked them? Let's look at the reality. The Iraq invasion, 1 million deaths, Western hegemony, Syrian intervention, 100,000 deaths, 500,000 civilians. What was it about? The welfare of the people of Syria? Or was it about imposing an American world order? Intervening in Kosovo, Brahma Chelani, over to you. You speak better on this. Internal conflict in Kosovo, you stationed thousands of troops. Was Kosovo a member? Was its independence recognized by 4 NATO members? My question is, it was all about imposing an American world order. And please hear me on this. It's going to be difficult to impose the American world order anymore after this. Brahma, please.
Well, Arnab, you're right. International law is powerful against the powerless, but powerless against the powerful. That's the reason why we've had a number of military invasions of sovereign states just in this century, since the year 2001. Both the Russian invasion and the West's retaliatory economic war against Russia, including expelling Russia from the Western-led financial order, mock a rules-based order. Russia's aggression is violating Ukraine's territorial sovereignty, and the West's economic warfare is violating Russia's economic sovereignty. But there are larger implications for the world. Russia's virtual ejection from the Western-led financial system at a time when economic power has shifted east will likely set in motion the search for alternatives that are immune to weaponization of payment system, especially SWIFT, weaponization of banking, weaponization of trade finance, and weaponization of currencies. This will prompt many non-Western economies to diversify their reserves as an insurance. More countries will seek to do bilateral trade in currencies other than the dollar and the euro. And the World Bank has now joined the Western economic warfare against Moscow by halting all its projects in Russia. In doing so, it has underscored the imperative to reform such multilateral financial institutions so as to ensure that they cannot be used as political